Up until now, we have been building the structure of a website using HTML. And while all the websites we have been building are working, they are still looking very plain. But today we are going to change that because in this lesson, we are going to learn CSS, the technology that makes websites beautiful. Welcome back. And if you have been following all the lessons so far, you should be very, very proud of yourself because you have already built a very strong HTML foundation. And now we are bringing design into the picture. CSS stands for cascading style sheet. But let me tell you something. Honestly, you do not need to memorize this full meaning of CSS. It's just something that you are going to know automatically. Let me tell you something that actually matters. You see, CSS controls the appearance and design of website. CSS describe how HTML elements are to be displayed on screen, paper, or on other media. That's just what CSS is used for. It just tell you how HTML are to be displayed. It just use CSS to add design, to add styling to the HTML, to the structure you have built with HTML. Now I want us to move to how CSS works. You can see here I have my project open here already. I want us to move to how CSS work. Let us write our first CSS code. So now you can see the way we have everything here. This is what we have been doing from day one. But I just want to clear all this. If you like, you can create a different folder, but I don't need all this thing here. So I'm just going to delete everything in here, leaving only my index. So leaving only my index.html, I have deleted every other thing in here. So I'm just going to clear this, and I want to believe we all know how to create this already. So I'm just going to use the shortcut I taught you. I showed you guys how to use this shortcut. So I'll click tab now, and I have this pre-built HTML structure for me here. So now we're going to learn how CSS works. And CSS works by selecting HTML elements and applying styles to them. Now, the first one to create is an H1 element. Let me create an H1 element. Let me just call it hello world. Now don't forget we have to start our server. So I'll just click my go live here, and I want to put this, I want this to be one side like this. So you can see I have my hello world in here that I just created. So now I want to add style to this hello world. I want us to create our first CSS by adding style to this hello world. Now I'm going to show you maybe in the future I'm going to show you different way we can write CSS. I'm going to give you different way we can write CSS, but now what I want us to do here is very simple. I just want to say style here. So in here now I'm just going to say H1. Inside my H1 here, I just want to say color. I'll say blue. If you look at what I've done here, I've changed this my H1 element here. I target the element here, and I change the color to be blue. That's what I just did here. So I just want to show you an example of something we can do with CSS, but I'm going to do a better explanation and a better example of how we can write CSS code. Now, where do we write our CSS code? Look at what I did here. I just created the style element and write my CSS code inside here. But this is not the best way we can write our CSS code. I'm going to show you the best way we write our CSS code. Now we'll go back here inside our project here. I want us to create another file. We're going to call this styles.css. So you can see we'll create this styles.css. In here you can see we have index.html, and here we'll create our style.css. Let me just close this back. This file we have created here will contain our CSS styles with an external style sheet file. You see, you can change the look of the entire website by changing just one file. So everything is going to be here. Now we have created this style.css file, but they are not related. It's not related with to this, right? I believe that all of us have that idea already. You can see now that if we write a style inside here, for example, if I write a style inside here, H1, I say color. Let me say I say color red. You can see now that it's not nothing is going to happen here. Let me just remove this one that I'm doing in here. You can see now that this color red is not being applied here because these two files are separate. They are not, we have not linked this style file to this CSS for this CSS to be able to use this style that is being declared here. So that's what we are going to do now. And the way we are going to do that, we are just going to go in our head here, inside our head here. Let me just do it above this title. Inside our head here, I'm going to say link. Now in my link, I'm going to write, I'm going to put a relationship here, which I'm going to say style sheet, just like this, style sheet. Then after that, I'm going to put my href. Remember, we use href to target the location. So into my href, what I have here is style.css, just like that. We put back the closing tag. You see, just like this now, I have linked this file over here. I have linked this file over here to this HTML. So if you look at what just happened here, our color have changed to red, and this style is coming from this CSS file that we have inside here. So that's just the best way to write our CSS code. We have a separate file for CSS. We link it to our HTML, and we declare all our style inside here. That's the best approach for writing CSS. Now we're going to look at more example of things we can do here. So now let's still write another CSS here. I also want to write a paragraph in here, and this is my paragraph. I'm just going to say I am learning CSS. Maybe I should change this text over here that says hello world. Let me just say, let me just write my name here, Vincent website. So something easy like this, recent website, I am learning CSS. So if you can do this yourself, I want to believe that we all, with what I've done here, we all will be able to also change the color of this paragraph text. Just pause for a minute and try to do that yourself before you continue this video. So I believe that we all try attempting that. But something we can do here, since you can see the way I did this this H1, I just target the elements and I change the color. So the same thing I want you to do here, we're just going to target the paragraph, just like that. Then you just say color. Let me just say gray. So something simple like that. You can see here now we have changed our color. I am learning CSS to gray. You can see now that our website is starting to feel alive. We can change colors, and there are many more styles we can add. There are many more things we can do with CSS, not just changing color, but now you can see now that our website is starting to look alive. Now let's move into understanding CSS syntax. Now I've just been writing CSS. I haven't actually explained to you what all these syntax mean. Now I want to understand what all these syntax mean here. This first one here is called the selector. You see, our CSS syntax here consists of a selector and a declaration block. This first H1 here is called the selector. You see, this selector points to the HTML elements you want to style, and it tells CSS what to style. That's just why it's called the selector. It points to the HTML elements you want to style. You can see now that what we did here, we select the H1, which is this, and then we add a declaration here and style this H1. So that's why it's called the selector. It selects the HTML you want to style. It tells CSS what to style. That's what this selector over here is doing. And the color here is the property. This color here is the property. We look for this property, then we'll add a property value here. The red here is the property value. So the color here is the property. It tells the CSS what to change. That's just what this property is doing. It tells the CSS what to change, because you can have many other things, but here now what we want to change is the color. So we'll use this property to tell the CSS that okay, we want to change the color, and we'll add a property value what we want to change this color to, and we'll say red, and we change the color to red. That's also what the CSS mean here. We have the selector. After the selector, then we'll have the declaration block. The declaration block, we have the property and we have the property value. You can see that in the declaration block now we can have different declaration, and we just separate them by semicolons. You can see here now I ended this with semicolons, because I end this with semicolon, we can add another declaration here. For example, I can also say text. You can see I can do something like text align, and I will say center. Maybe when we get further into our course, we'll be doing things like that. You can see now that we align our text to be centered. You can see that's what I just did here. I align my text to be centered. As we keep getting further, I will keep explaining that to you, and we'll look at more declaration, more CSS more things we can do with CSS. Before moving to what we'll be doing next, I just want us to add more style to our CSS. Now, what I want us to select here, I don't want us to select just the H1. I don't want us to select just the P. I want us to select this body entirely. In this body entirely, I want us to select it so that anything that will be inside this body is going to have the style that we are going to declare here. So that's just what I want us to do now. But I want to put it at the top. So I'm going to say body. Don't forget, we use our selector to select the elements we want to style. Then we open our curly braces. When we open our curly braces, then we declare the style that I want to add. So that's what I want to do here. And I just want to add a background color. Let me just say a light gray. If you look at what I did here, I've added the background color light gray, and every element inside the body is going to have this background color. So that's just something I just wanted to add, something we can also do. So in our H1, we can also increase size if we want. We can also say something like font size. We can also do something like font size. Let me say 40 pixels. We can say font size 40 pixels. So if you look at this, we increase the size of this H1. With what we have done here so far, we all have seen the power of CSS, and we all have understand that we can achieve a lot of things with CSS, even beyond what I've been showing you here, beyond what I've done here. There are a lot of things we can do with CSS. This is just an introduction, and you can see that we can do a lot of things with CSS. In the next video, we'll go deeper into CSS selectors. In the next video, you can see now the only selector I showed you right now is the element selector. Element selector. What we are selecting here is the body. What we are selecting here is the H1. Imagine you have another H1 here. Just imagine you have another H1 here, and maybe this is not, maybe this is something else. You can say, let me just say learning to learn, or let me just say learning CSS. Let me just say we have another H1 here. You can see now that because we are using the element selector, selecting H1, any H1 we create inside here is going to have exactly this style that have been declared inside of H1. So that's because we are using the element selector. But in our next lesson, we are going to go deeper into CSS selectors. We are going to look at more CSS selectors we can use. We are going to learn how developers target specific elements professionally. Here now, we are just targeting the elements, the H1 elements, and any H1 element is going to have the same style. But in our next lesson that we are going deeper into CSS selector, we are going to learn how we can target this one specifically, this first H1 specifically, and how we can also target this second H1 specifically. That's what we are going to be learning when we go deeper into CSS selector in our next course. And this is where our styling skills, or your styling skills, is going to start becoming more powerful. And I'm going to see you in that next lesson.